Hey again, everybody. Strength Hammer, back again with some more old world fun to chat about. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm taking some pictures of some armies over here, so I'm playing with lights and all that, and it's a mess, but we'll get there. But anyway, yeah. So today we had drop Old World Almanac. So this is where we're gonna get a little insight on the rules, I believe, for the Old World, and I want to do a short video on this. Alright, so yesterday we braved the waste of to beseech the boons of insight from two wizened seers upon the blasted moor in order to learn what the warriors of chaos are up to in a world of legend, which, well, that was 2 ago. Anyway, today we make the journey again, this time to uncover cursed knowledge from a forbidden tome, Arcane Journal, Warriors of Chaos. And yes, I have not looked at this yet, so this will be my first time kind of looking at it too. So live reactions, except for it's pre-recorded. Alright, Danny, who we saw on the preview there last night. Alright, there are, as I make sure my sound is on perfect here, it is good. It's good. Awesome. Alright, there are 2 named characters in the Arcane Journal. First, Galrock is very similar to his original incarnation from the era of Karl Franz, a very powerful dragon corrupted by the greater demon of Tzeentch. The indomitable spirit of the ancient dragon continues to battle for control of its body and sometimes even wins for a bit. Unsure what else to do, he tries to destroy himself so he can't unleash his wrath upon the world. So there he is right there. I like it because you know, in the lore, whenever he fell, his head literally split in 2, which, so like there's the one that's corrupted and the one that's fighting for control again, as always. It's an old model. It used to be all metal. It's kind of rough to build, I would imagine, but still cool to see it back on that nice big dragon base size too. Alright, JTY. We've tried to honor what made him unique, but we made him more reliable. When he first appeared in the Warhammer Fantasy battles, his rules were quite chaotic. I always felt he was a lot of points to waste if you rolled badly, and he did everything you didn't want him to do. So now Galrock becomes less effective when his spirit regains control, but he's no longer useless. And that's important when you're paying 400 points for a model. Okay, so he's going to be 400 points. And he'll waver, but he'll still be able to do whatever you want him to do instead of running roughshod over whatever he feels like. My hair's a mess. What the heck? I just showered. Anyway. Alright, the classic model will be coming back in metal for anyone who missed out, so get the epoxy ready for that one. Though has been slightly delayed from the initial release. His profile is not dissimilar these days, but modified appropriately for the new game. And he's a behemoth. Behemoths are good in Warhammer, the old world, and he's now definitely worth his points. A big, powerful, terror-causing dragon who will rip opponents to bits. He's a wizard as well. Awesome. So you get everything you could want from him. Even though he's going to be slightly delayed, that's fine. Things happen. He'll come out when he comes out. Then the new character, Friedel the Chainmaker, is the epitome of a Norskin who feels the lure, turns to chaos, and sets out on the path to glory. Travels north, battles chaos champions in the northern waste, returns to Norskin infused with the power of chaos. Champion of chaos undivided, not sworn to any god. So it's kind of like a like a mini Archeon type thing here. So, or Abraxia, the new character. So this is cool. She kind of reminds me. Oh, I should have brought a picture up of it. This was like early days of the U.S. Open events, but one of the first limited models was a little Slaves of Darkness, female Slaves of Darkness champion. I feel like she would be a good fit here. She only has the 1 horn, but that'd be a great model to put in. I have one, but it's in my Slaves of Darkness army, But if I ever do Chaos Warriors, most of that will come back over, so that'd be my Frido model. Or anyway, in-game, she is very much between an Exalted Champion and Chaos Lord in power level. Prolific fighter who buffs some of your mortal units, like the Marauders and Marauder Horsemen, as well as the additional units in one of the 2 armies of infamy, the Wolves of the Sea. Okay, so maybe she's part of that army as far as like lore. That's kind of cool. And that army is what interested me as name, so I don't need to start an army right now. It's okay. Friedel is inspiration for this force. She is a raider at heart who descends from the north upon a fleet of wolf ships to prowl the coasts of the realms of man, pillaging and spreading the corruption of chaos wherever she goes. Note that while she's powerful in central story, she's not the great champions of her age. She's a harbinger of what the future could hold if the people of Empire remain ineffective defense in their borders. Okay, which is fine. Low risk, but still interesting to see what can happen. She's significant insofar as she heralds the worst things to come. She's important in her own right, but it's fair to say most Chaos champions who don't go on to become Great Lords or ascend demonhood are heading to something else. This is a thread that runs through Chaos. One's champion always proceeds to the next big thing. They're damned by their own decisions. Champions willingly become slaves of darkness in the pursuit of glory, but the big joke is they're always played on them with the glory of someone else's. She's got a miniature coming, and she looks really good. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to use that other model. I would use whatever model she comes with. That's great. Because I thought they said we weren't getting new models, but here we are. They will get a new model eventually, and that's fine. I like it. So, the narrative then unfolds around her. Starts with the ships raiding Hollum on the northern coast of the Empire in the Wasteland. Okay, a little bit of campaign lore. Sign of things to come over a period of years. Carves out her own little fiefdom near Marienburg. Ooh, that's interesting. Marienburg's fun. It's where the Warhammer army's from. It's still part of the Empire at this juncture, and one of the major claimants to the throne. In fact, Empress Margrethe has one of the more legitimate claims of the 4 candidates. So here we go. Map of where it's coming down. So this is her little fiefdom here. Right on the edge of the forest and raiding. That's cool. Lorelorn Forest. I like this. And then Marienburg's counter, I guess, attack to hold it at bay. That's fun. That's a fun map right there. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright. Danny says, as the raiding continues, the more power of Chaos grows. Beastmen appear in the woods. They are building dark momentum. Corruption seeping in. It's a scenario. First structured response to the Empire and increase the Norscan raids. Okay, so this is talking about the narrative battle, which we will, will be in the Arcane Journal. Hope is the army will be waiting for Frido as she lands, but unfortunately for the Empire, Frido braved the end of winter and got there early. She's lying in wait. Okay, so it's a little bit of an ambush style here. Let's see. Do the Norscans gain a foothold and establish an enclave, or will they be driven off the mainland and forced? Well, that's what we need to figure out, isn't it, everybody? We don't show what happens. The last narrative moment in Frido bowing before the monument in Hollum, asking the gods to watch as she demolishes the Empire army. We'd actually very much enjoy if people emailed in the results of the battle. We'd love to know if it happened on your tabletop. I would love to do that. I don't know what the email is. I hope it's down below, or they should put it out again, because, yeah, why not? I'm happy to email in results for cool games like that. Alright. We plan to keep making Arcane Journals. These allow us to tell stories that progress over time, which is a change in how we do things at Warhammer. Previously, we released a big book telling grand story and then leave it all at that till next edition. Arcane Journals give us a chance, perspective, smaller stories. Yep, we can revisit options later on. Vertep with the War and the Border Princes and Reclamation of Kazad Vosk, for instance. Danny, we've got a huge sandbox to play in. That's very true. So we don't just concentrate on the lead up to Prague. These smaller books are liberating creative process, so we can dive into a story and press pause on it. The scenarios are left open-ended, so players can imagine the results for themselves. Frido might either defeat the Empire forces, or she might be sent packing. We'd like to see more of Frido on the timeline, because she's a cool character that they made and they really like her. It's very obvious. She's arrived upon the shores of the Empire and intends to stay. She has a base of operations in the ruins of Hollum, erected monuments to the gods. Anaru has already been sacked, so raiding parties could cross the river. The story will continue for years. That makes me happy. Warhammer for years. Take a closer look at both armies of infamy tomorrow and at the rest of the rules of the Warriors of Chaos. So, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to pause here because we're going to see more of that tomorrow. I'm going to bookend this video with that one, so you'll see this. If you're watching that, if you're watching this, you're going to see that. So, we're going to take a pause, and bow out. And I'll put up Terathi again here. Boom, there we go. And I will see you guys on the other half when I'm reading through that other article and reacting to it as we go. All right, see you on the other side. And we are back with, gotta really get it out, the new Old World Almanac for Warriors of Chaos for the day. Yeah, so let's go in and check it out. So we got Old World Almanac, rules for the rules gods. Simple, clean, funny. I like it. Did that one. There we go. All right, a little sip of coffee here as we dive right on in. All right, we're concluding our investigations of the Warriors of Chaos today. Closer look at the 2 new armies of infamy and the other particularly thematic rules. I am excited for the Sea of Wolves, or Wolves of the Sea, whatever they were called. All right, Danny. Of the 2 armies of infamy we feature in the Arcane Journal, the Wolves of the Sea represents the early stages of the Chaos Resurgence, focusing on marauders and beastmen as allies, all jumping off wolf ships and plundering the lands of man. Not using my models I like, but hey, we'll see. JT White's the tribes. The main focus is on the marauders rather than the Chaos Warriors. Built up their roles, the fearsome barbarian horde. You can pay points to make them ambushers, which is very powerful on the army-wide basis. That'd be pretty nice. There are a couple of additional profiles exclusive to this army. Herskalls are better marauder horsemen. Oh, neat. Okay. While berserkers are a skirmishing unit, which adds some very useful flexibility. Yeah, trying to get to talking out. We have made box outs with recommendations in the book, though they are designed to be made from existing kits. We hope that you paint them differently, give them different heads and shields, or swap their weapons or something bigger and spikier. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, I like that. I love that whole kit bashing thing within the kits that we have. I loved it when they did it in Sigmar. I love it when they're doing it here. It's like treating us like adults in the hobby. Herskalls are particularly interesting as they grant you a heavy cavalry unit with regular horsemen, with the opportunity to wear heavy armor and ride in close order. That's okay. Maybe they're turning me around on this. Combine that with Furious Charge and Countercharge. Yeah. A very economical, hard-hitting unit with real pace, especially if you also pay to make them drilled. Dang, these Herskalls can get everything. Berserkers, on the other hand, are there to stack attacks with Frenzy and the opportunity to equip an additional hand weapon each. As Relentless Warriors, they also benefit from a 6-up ward save, handy in a pinch. Hey, that's really spicy. I like this. The rest of the rules are there to add character to the army. Okay, so we have the 2 new kind of like fun units they're adding in, which is the Kit Bash. So Berserker, Footman, and then Herskalls, which is just a heavier horse and this is all for Marauders. So that's really fun. It does open up play a lot, and those new Darkoth models look pretty cool. They would work really nice. Alright, so I think the Warriors duel in particular is evocative. It gives Chaos players something to be excited about, and it's a characterful way to throw down the gauntlet and determine who gets first turn. You can even take a small advantage by killing off an enemy champion. Likewise, every time you win a challenge, you get the roll on the Gaze of the Gods table, which is also thematic. So what's this? Wolves of the Sea. Marauder tribes. Respect any warrior brave enough to face them in single combat. Instead of rolling off to determine which player takes the first turn, you may challenge your opponent to a warrior's duel. This feels very Bretonian in a weird way. If your opponent accepts, both players choose a single champion with the wounds characteristic of 1 whose troop type is infantry or cavalry from within their army to fight in a warrior's duel. The chosen combatants then fight as if engaged in a challenge, fighting as many rounds of combat as necessary to determine a victor. Once a victor has been determined, that model's controlling player takes the first turn. If both champions are slain, the players must roll off as normal. If the challenge is declined, the Wolves of the Sea army counts as having won the roll off to determine which player takes the first turn. Oh my gosh. That is just fun. Like, anytime like there's an army I like Daughters of Cain for Sigmar. Found the Kraith roll, and I just got hooked on it, and that's like my identity now. It's fine, but like sometimes rules like this find you. Like, this rule alone makes me want to start this army, and I know that's kind of very like probably like, I don't know, globalizing or whatever, but like I haven't seen the whole army, but just this rule alone has me excited to start Wolves of the Sea army even more. Like, the thematic and the name sound cool. Wasn't sold on the Marauders, but then they gave me cooler Marauders, and now they're giving me this. Like, really? Like, heck yes, I want to do this. I want to dictate the game before the game begins with an interaction with my opponent. Yeah, like, and why wouldn't you do this? Like, if you're Wolves of the Sea, you're gonna have a champion. You're gonna pick your champion that you can actually maybe give like magic items to, and just watch them just crush somebody, and then you get to go first. That's so cool. I'm sorry, I'm kind of stuck on this. I love this so much. All right, we will move on. All right, Skin Wolves are returning in Forge World Resin. They're another unit that fits very well into the Wolves of the Sea. They're absolute glass hammers with movement 7, weapon skill 5. So they're pretty much the opposite of trolls, who are ponderous and hard to shift. Skin Wolves move quickly and hit like a truck, but they will fall over your foe commits the right forces. You can change their profile via the Warped Flesh rule to gain extra attacks, extra AP, additional armor, and toughness, and sacrifice their damage output for survivability. They're an adaptable unit, which is the whole Norskin thing, taking the idea of berserkers and Warnerners to their dark conclusion. Warped form. Alright, when the unit's combat is chosen during step 1.1, choose the following last until your next start of turn subphase. So choose one of these, last till your next turn. Enlarge Claws, extra AP, and Armor Bane 2, extra attacks, or toughness, and increase armor value by 2. That's really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of these models. I don't know. I just don't feel like painting the skin on that. I guess. But I like the everything else about it. But a little cryptid is there. Okay, we'll see. Danny, the other army of infamy is the Heralds of Darkness, which is the ultra-elite army depicting bands of cavalry roaming in the Chaos Waste and preying on the weak. We wanted to give people permission to make this list. Partly by cutting down on composition options, it's significantly more restricted than normal. It's small, hard-hitting force, which can't take screening units or skirmishing. If you want to conquer the world under the pounding hoofs of black-armored Chaos Knights, this is the force for you. Okay, so this is our mounted option. Alright, the mutated steeds of Knights of Chaos are swift and powerful war mounts, standing as a warped mockery of thoroughbreds of fair Bretonia. When a unit in this army whose troop type is cavalry or chariot makes a charge, flee, or pursuit move, it may reroll any dice roll of a natural 1 before discarding any dice that are required to be discarded. Okay, so you're just kind of guaranteeing charges a little bit more reliably. I like it. That's not as exciting to me as this. Oh my gosh, oh boy. Alright, it's very on theme for a great champion of chaos to lead a core of chosen knights, re-releasing iconic plastic chaos warriors and chaos knights, mystery, disciple, and menace. The key difference between these guys is that they're more finely armored and chaos warriors than Age of Sigmar. The later are what the chaos looks like after they've won. These are what they won't look like before they won. Okay, I like that differential, and that's a good way to separate the model lines, I suppose. Ours are rough and ready brawlers from the realm of chaos, rather than glorious baroque warriors of chaos, victorious from the mortal realms. But still, people are going to use whatever ones they want. Like, I'm glad you're using lore to adjust this, but we'll do what we want. The two armies of infamy are popular, but actually here, hold on, we're gonna dive back in on that real quick for a second, because here's actually what's key about that now. Because there's that internal struggle obviously going on between the same models between Age of Sigmar and AOS. And unfortunately, there's still going to be a decent amount that are stuck for a long while, just because it takes time to make these beautiful models and even refresh these old molds and do all that stuff that, both Sigmar team are doing and then the old world team are doing. And they don't want to play nice for whatever reason, because they don't like free money. Because I feel like you'd make a lot more money if they got along better. But I digress. What's interesting about this, noting this right here, this key difference. What I love about this is it's essentially drawing a line in the sand, narrative-wise, to allow maybe more of that blending that we desperately want to see. So it's like, okay, hey, we want to have Chaos Warriors in our army, and you guys have Slaves of Darkness. Okay, how do we differentiate them based upon models? Okay, well, let's use this. These are the ones that won, so they look better. These are the ones that aren't. They're still, like, finding their way, so they're not looking as good. You can extrapolate this out even into model lines that are shared in order to maybe let the teams play nice. Because now there's that lore differential somehow. I think this sentence right here could be the start of maybe them getting along. I feel, potentially. I hope. Or anyway. Alright, the two armies of infamy are polar opposites. At the moment, Chaos armies tend to be quite balanced with elements of warriors and brawlers. These play to the ends of the spectrum. Wolves of the Sea can bring a heck of a lot of miniatures to the table for a Chaos army. I like my Horde armies. JTY, deliberately staying away from mono god lists. These are the chaos of that is the chaos of the end times when the god's power has waxed strong, and our period Undivided is ascendant in Pantheon as a whole. Chosen chariots are classic unique upgrades for heralds, just as chosen in an upgrade for an ordinary warrior knight. These chariots are one of the bonuses you get for going all knights. You get even more horrific chariots, which is the thing too, because my Slaves of Darkness is all painted purple and gold because I chose them to be Slanesh, so I really don't want to repaint them, but I'm kidding. If I started a Chaos Warriors army, it'd be the Wolves of the Sea. I'm kind of sold just from that rule alone. Alright, the Warpfire Dragon is another returning Warhammer Forged miniature available for Chaos Warriors Grand Army, bringing yet more monsters, destruction energy to the battlefield. We don't have any plans to bring back the War Mammoth currently, however. It's a big piece of resin. Shout out to Emma out there. I know she's probably not watching the show, but if she is, she has like 4 of those things. I got to play a game against them. It was crazy. It was fun. Alright, I think I'm just happy that with Chaos in general, it's a very solid force with lots of options. Chaos Lords are terrifying as they should be. Sorcerers are powerful as they should be. You have a nice spectrum between Marauders in great numbers who aim to dogpile the enemy, and Chaos Warriors who are decent heavy infantry chosen warriors are better. Knights are better yet. Chosen Knights are terrifying, as are the chariots. Fundamentally, there's nothing in the Chaos roster that feels bad. Everything does a job. I'd say the only thing, like, I've heard that Chaos Warriors are a little expensive on points for what they actually can output. I can't speak to that. I played against them a couple times. But yeah. Still, Chaos is cool. At least in Old World. I play a lot of them in Fantasy. Alright, wrapping up here. Alright, so the Chaos Lords on Dragon is undoubtedly very powerful at present, especially if you spec him in to murder everything he touches. But there is a counterplay. There's magic you can look at, and there's magic weapons in the core rulebook called Dragon Sling Sword. I've not seen too many of. That's because, to be fair, I don't, like, personally, I don't fear dragons. Like, if you put a dragon across from me, I feel like I can deal with it. Like, I know how to deal with it. I think it's more of a learning curve. I think Dragon Sling Swords are great for those early stages, but I think once you maybe learn to play around dragons, or how your army can just hold them up and just make them do nothing, that's kind of more the play, I feel. But still, it would be fun to auto slay a dragon too. And Bertoni has answers including Virtues. Many factions can bring their own lord on a dragon, and those that can't make it up for lugging big cannons onto the field. Yeah, so I don't think dragons are a problem. They won't manage it in one shot, but 2 or 3 shots should kill a dragon. Yeah, exactly. They really are talking about dragons here. I'm not worried about dragons. We're fine. Bring dragons. We're good. Don't do a dragon army. That'd be too much. Okay. Remember that a tooled up Lord on Dragon is a lot of points, up to 600, to put it in one place. Empire armies can lock them down with flagellants while their comrades mop up the rest of the army. 5+ ward saves and they're unbreakable. Pretty good unit. You can see this with me. There's options to deal with dragons. These dragons have toughness 6, which is not insurmountable. A Minotaur with a great weapon could cut one in half. I do think that people are beginning to work out how to deal with the powerful heroes, but we are watching the scene. This is the level that we want with these big monsters to be at, because they're an investment in money, time, and points. It's disappointing if they get blown off the table by a cannon. That's fair. Perfectly fine. Alright, and obviously tomorrow we get the pre-order for Chaos Warriors, which I'll be picking up the book and cards. Nothing else yet, but we will, obviously, on the show, we'll do a preview, walkthrough of the book whenever it comes in for me. I don't have any sort of early access. I wish I did. That way I can give you stuff, guys, on launch, but as always, the stuff will come out tomorrow, so check out Facehammer, check out Squarebase, wait for maybe the Old World Charm will do their stuff, and once I get my book in hand, myself, Neil, or somebody else will jump on and we'll do our walkthrough like we did. So yeah, Chaos Warriors. I kind of want to do Wolves of the Sea, and to be fair, I'm almost done with Bretonnians, a few dwarfs to do. Maybe that's the next army I do. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below what you like about the Chaos Warriors, if you're picking up the stuff tomorrow. Yeah, and until next time, happy hopping, everybody, and stay Stormcast strong.